Hi there, you are listening to the Being Unstoppable podcast, where we talk about being unstoppable in your brand, business, and life. I'm your host, Carolee Fontanelli, and as an entrepreneur, lawyer, course creator, and author, I understand what it takes to strive for the next level. Through 20 years of having several businesses, making a ton of mistakes, and celebrating loads of success, I love to share my secret sauce, tips, and strategies on how you too can become unstoppable. Hello and welcome back to the podcast Being Unstoppable. I am your host, Carolee Fontanelli, and no matter where you are tuning in from, whether it's on your walk or in the car, or maybe you are doing your laundry or maybe cooking dinner, wherever you're tuning in from, I hope that you are having a fabulous day and a fabulous week, in fact. This week on the podcast, I wanted to talk to you about something that came up for me in conversation with a friend of mine this week. And this friend of mine, she used to be my employee here at the law firm. She worked for me for nearly 6 years and we've become great friends. Our daughters are the same age and she's gone off to pursue her own business and to do her own thing, which she's thoroughly enjoying. But we had a little conversation and I really wanted to share it with you because it's something that we all go through from time to time as we evolve. And I think it's a really important topic to talk about. But before we get started, I wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who has left a review for me on iTunes or on Spotify. It is greatly appreciated. And the other thing too that I would love to remind you of is that you can leave a review for me as well. You can scroll down to the bottom of your iTunes and down the bottom there you'll find an area where there's some stars. So you can leave a star rating and you can also leave a little message. And in your review, if you can also leave your Instagram handle, that would be amazing because then I can give you a shout out too and a little follow. On other news, if you follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn, you will have seen that I'm participating in Dancing CEOs. Now, I haven't spoken much about Dancing CEO on the podcast, but I have been talking about it a lot on my socials. So what Dancing CEO is an initiative put together by Women's Legal Service Queensland in order to fundraise for their services. Now, what Women's Legal Service Queensland do is they support thousands and thousands of women every year that go through domestic violence. And they do this with support and phone calls. They do this with services. They do it with having lawyers at the DV courts around the state. And of course, not only do they serve women and children going through domestic violence, but they also bring huge awareness about domestic violence and how it affects people and why we should all be standing up for domestic violence. So I've been part of this since 2019. I got asked to dance and to fundraise, and to do that, we have to fundraise $20,000. Now, I've been doing it via all sorts of means. I wrote a book, which was the Nourishing You book, which you can still purchase, and the funds until the 15th of May that of every book purchased are going towards Dancing CEO. I have also run an event last week, which was incredible. We raised $15,000, can you believe? Which is amazing. And that's just a testament to what happens when you bring a whole lot of people into one room. On that day, we raised $10,000 just in raffle tickets, which is incredible. Like, I could not believe how well it went. And I was just absolutely blown away by the support and also just by the incredibly fun time that we had. And that's what's amazing. You can have this amazing fun time, yet you're doing so much for the community and doing so good. So together we did that. And I was just so excited that all of my colleagues on the Gold Coast all came together and really dug deep to make this happen. So this Saturday, I am in fact actually dancing. So that's the 15th of May, 2021. And I'm so excited, but also very, very scared. So it doesn't matter when you're tuning in, if it's after the 15th of May, if you want to go and check that out, there will be a YouTube video. You just have to type in Dancing CEOs 2021 and you will see a video of me there dancing. And hopefully it's not of me dancing, tripping up or anything crazy like that. Hopefully I'm able to do this dance and pull it off and look amazing on stage. That's what I'm hoping. Anyway, so my dance is based on the Brazilian funk, and it's actually me as the centerpiece, and then there's 4 backup dancers. So it's going to be hopefully incredible. And even if it's not, what does it matter? The purpose of it is that we've raised money for an incredible cause, which is Women's Legal Service Queensland. And the one thing that I've got out of it myself is that it's really, really pushed me out of my comfort zone in many, many ways. And one of those ways is through fundraising, because fundraising is really hard. And fundraising 20 grand is particularly hard. I think I'm going to be around $30,000. So I'm super excited about that. The other thing that it's done is it's pushed me out of my comfort zone in terms of actually doing something with my body that I've never done before, which is dancing, and just moving in that way and thinking in a totally different creative way. And in doing all of that, I have had so many benefits. And one of those benefits has been meeting my incredible dance teacher and choreographer, Asha. She's amazing. And I've really, really enjoyed meeting her and getting to know her. And she's from just such a different world from me. And it's just amazing. Anyway, that's a little bit about what's been going on for me. And you can go and check that out no matter when you're tuning in, because it will be online. So today, let's get stuck into the podcast today, which we are going to be talking about the signs of when it's time to let go of that idea that you thought was a winner. Now, in business, there are so many times, and not just in business, but in life as well. We start something and then we hang on to it and hang on to it. And it's like we're flogging a dead horse and we don't know why we're hanging on to it. Now, I have done this personally myself as well, and I've realized why we do it. We hang on to these things because we have put so much time and energy into something that we don't want to let go of it. But by hanging on to it, we're not clearing space for other things in our life. And we can apply this to lots of areas of our life. But today I'm going to apply it to business. And it could be something small or it could be something large. It could be an entire business, for example, or it could simply be what you call your Instagram account. And when we hold on to these things and we don't let go, it can actually hold us back and keep us stagnant in our businesses and in our growth. Now, I'll give you a couple examples of what I'm talking about. The first one is myself as an example. As you guys all know, I created what was called Real Food Pledge, which was a website that had a lot of recipes on it, all gluten, dairy, sugar-free, and it was also then turned into 3 cookbooks. I created the website in 2013, and there was lots of things I really loved about it. I loved learning everything about websites and web design. I loved cooking, so that was something that I was delivering, was all these recipes. I loved the creation of the books and all of that sort of thing. And then as time went on, I decided to create an online course all around real food and how to cut out processed food and that sort of thing. And so that was, say, 2016. And it just never evolved and took off. And things happened and life got in the way. Anyway, I had learnt so much about blogging and online and all of that stuff through Real Food Pledge. And because it was like a hobby, I was doing it all in my own time with little funds. So I was spending all the time on the web and doing the things to make this all happen. So I learnt a heck of a lot about Facebook ads and sequences and running a website and blogging and all of the things. Really loved it. And I tried to create a more substantial business out of it by creating this online program. And then I ended up going and creating an online program for people going through divorce and separation. But then instead of accepting it was time to move on from Real Food Pledge and focus on other things, I kept coming back to it and really flogging this dead horse. And I think ultimately what I really loved was all the web stuff that I'd learnt more than the actual food stuff and the service that I was delivering. And for whatever reason, I could never get it to work. With Real Food Pledge, I kept on going with it from 2012 to 2019. So it's a significant amount of time and energy and love and everything else that I had poured into it. But because I kept going back to it, it was actually holding me back from creating something else bigger and better. And also working with the people that I really wanted to work with. And I kept coming back and not letting go. And I did this over and over and over again. So that's one example there. And I'm using myself as that example. Another example is I was talking to a friend last week, I talked about before. She has gone out on her own and she started out as something and now she has evolved, which is what happens to us, right? But she was really scared of changing her Instagram account. Her Instagram account was very specific to one thing. And now she's evolved and she's opening up what she's doing and she's changing it up a little bit and being a little more open. And so the Instagram account really needed to change. So then she decided to open 2 Instagram accounts and then she decided to shut one down. And, you know, if you're in business, you've probably been there and can feel the pain of what's going on. The thing is we put ourselves through this pain because we're not sure about letting go of something and we don't allow ourselves to move on. We keep ourselves stuck in the old way we were. Now, remember, like with her, for example, when she first opened the Instagram account and started the business, she was one person in a different place from where she is now, and she was offering something different. Over a few years, you've evolved and you've changed, but then you get scared to let go of everything you've created. And I feel the same for me with Real Food Pledge. I spent so much time and effort and energy on that. So it feels scary to let go of it. What if it's all wasted, for example? What if I really can make it work? And really, if you've been doing something over and over and it hasn't been working, how do you know the signs of when it's time to let go of that idea and move on? And is it okay to let go of that idea and move on? After being through the journey of letting go of Real Food Pledge, although in saying that, I still do the newsletters every single week. That is something that is going to go eventually, but I've slowly been letting go of it. What I'm talking about here could be anything. It could be an idea. It could be a whole new business. It could be a new strategy, a new way to grow your business. And what happens is that when we come up with these ideas, we get really excited about all of the possibilities and we're really anxious to get to work. So we just get started and it's exciting. But after a while, we encounter struggles and we push through because we know that that's what we're meant to do to be successful. And then we might keep pushing through and we don't know why we're not making progress. Other times when we have these ideas, things just happen really easily and we don't encounter any resistance at all. So sometimes we have these obstacles that we don't even know that existed, and other times we have free flow. So when do we know that it's time to let go of these ideas or strategies or even a whole business, or it could just be the name of your Instagram account? How do we know that the time has come? Often we've built that idea up from the ground up. It's just been a little thought in our head. And you know what? I think we can be quite emotionally attached to these ideas and these things. Just like me with Real Food Pledge. So attached to it because I've put so much energy and work into it. But I think we need to start thinking about things differently. So I've come up with a few ideas on how we can think about things differently and how we can know when it is time to actually move on. So the first one is that you've tried different ways to make it work, but it just never does. And how we know is that we've made an effort to make something work and we've tried heaps of different ways and different strategies. We've given it enough time and we think if you just make certain adjustments, you'll get a different result. But you find that you're still getting resistance or things just aren't quite working. The other thing too is sometimes our heart has changed, but we just keep flogging it and keep on going. But if you are doing that and you've tried multiple ways to work an idea out or a strategy or even start a business or whatever it might be, but nothing's working, we do need to be honest with ourselves so that we can move on. The thing is that not every idea that we ever have is meant to work out the way that we want it to, right? There are tons of ideas out there and tons of things that people try, but we often don't see people's failures. We only see our own, and we think that everyone else is only trying something once and it's perfectly and magically working. And that is not the case at all. We often don't know how many strategies or business ideas or things people have done. And it's really interesting. If you go into someone's back end of their Facebook page, you can see details on the page transparency, how many times they've changed their business name, for example. And if you go on to anyone's account, you can see this, and it's great because you can see how people have evolved. So you might think, oh my God, they're an amazing business guru. And then you go into the transparency and you can see that they've changed their business name 4 times, and they started out as a yoga teacher and now they've evolved into something else. And that's totally okay. Each time you're doing that, remember, you're letting go to make room for something else. So the second thing that I want to point out to you is that sometimes when we are super positive people, we try and stay positive. And as life throws us obstacles, we're trying to adjust and justify the negative of what happens. And when you have to justify anything, that's a sign, really, that there's a problem, okay? Listen to some of the negative experiences that you're having as warning signs or an indication that something needs to be fixed or changed. See the negative for what it is and let it help you grow. Don't sit in it and think, I can get through it, I can get through it, I can get through it, because maybe something does need to change, or maybe you need to let go of something. My third tip around this is if it's not helping you to move forward, then maybe it's time to let it go. To grow a business or to become successful as an entrepreneur, you need growth and movement. 100% you do. And sometimes when we hold on to old things, it's actually keeping us stuck. The things you spend your time on each day should help us move forward towards your goal. And if you're constantly fighting something, struggling and pushing uphill to get somewhere, you can't move forward. If you're pushing uphill so hard, sometimes you're just actually pushing and you're resisting and you're not making any forward movements. So if you're constantly making excuses and dealing with the negative, maybe you're not moving forward on it. And if it's holding you back and not helping you move forward, maybe it's time to let it go, as hard as it is. And the fourth thing that I'd like to talk to you about is if something that's holding you back because you're not letting go of it, such as for me, Real Food Pledge, what you're doing is you're losing time and energy and motivation. You got into business for a reason, right? Well, not every day is going to be an exciting, ride. Sometimes it is downright hard work and boring. So if you are holding on to something that is holding you back because you are emotionally attached to the big ideas or all the energy or effort you've put into something in the past, what that's actually going to do is it's going to start dragging you down even more. When you feel like you're being dragged down or you're dreading to do something, it's going to really zap your energy and suck away your motivation. And it's so important that you are in a good space so that you can make room for the good things that are going to come. Let go of everything that wastes your time and hurts your energy and distracts your motivation, because it's not going to be serving you. So holding on to anything in your life that no longer serves you, whether it be a business strategy, a business, anything in your personal life, it could be as simple as the name on your Instagram account, whatever it might be, these small ideas, if it's not helping you propel forward, maybe it's time to let go of it. Now, for me, with Real Food Pledge, it has taken a really long time to move forward. And I thought I'd nearly move forward in 2019. And then when I started to do Dancing CEO and I needed to fundraise $20,000, I took that opportunity to create one more book because I love the process. I love creating recipes. I love getting these beautiful images shot, and I love creating this amazing thing that goes on people's kitchen tables afterwards. But the reality is that for me, I just get the joy of creating it and not much else out of it. And so I decided after that I was not going to pursue it any further. I've done my 3 beautiful books. That's something that I've created. I learned so much from Real Food Pledge. So many incredible things to do with blogging, creating a website, being online, launching, creating online courses, all of that I learned because of Real Food Pledge. And I have to remember that those things are the things that have got me where I am now. And now I can follow my dreams more, which is to help other professionals and grow their business like I have done at my law firm. And that's where I'm putting all my energy because that's what I love. And you know what? It is okay to evolve. It is okay to move on, and it's okay to move away from what you were doing and evolve to something bigger and better. And that's what I said to my friend who was changing the name of her Instagram account because her business has slightly changed angle. It is totally okay to do that. Take out what you got, like me with learning everything I need to about digital and online stuff. Take it all out and use it somewhere else. You have evolved and it's normal and healthy, and it means that you're moving forward by evolving. So letting go of some of the things from your past is really important. And in contrast to that, imagine, and we all know these people who say started a business 20 years ago and their business is exactly the same now, 20 years later as it was. And it's ticking along. They've probably got what is just a job, and they really haven't evolved much at all. And that's because they're hanging on to exactly where they started off. So that's in contrast. So sometimes we do need to let go of the past and how we used to do things, or great ideas that we did have that just didn't work out. We need to let go of them so that we can move forward and evolve and be more successful. Because if we're hanging on to the success of the past, or we're hanging on to ideas from the past, and we're not making room for new things, we are going to stagnate. So I think part of it as well for me is letting go of any guilt that you have, because we do tend to beat ourselves up over some of these things that maybe it wasn't as successful as we wanted, or whatever it might be. So if there's anything that you're hanging on to, any old ideas, any old strategies, anything that you've really moved past from, but you haven't actually let it go yet, I encourage you to really think about those things and have a think about if that is actually holding you back. Because I can tell you right now, after letting go of Real Food Pledge and making room for something new in my life, it has been going gangbusters and incredibly well. And that's what also tells you that you're on the right path when things happen really, really easily. So with Scalable Business Lounge, it's happening really easily. People are coming to me and they're wanting to know how I've grown my law practice and how I've basically scaled myself out of the practice so that I've got more time to do all of these things, because they want the same for them as well. They want to be a CEO of their law practice or their business. They don't want to be working in it. They want more freedom and more profit, and they can see that's what I've done, and they want to learn how to do that. So when you let go of something old that you're flogging and you make way for something new, it happens really easily when you're on the right path. That's a sign that you're actually on the right path, opposed to the sign that it's hard work and you're pushing uphill. So have a think about that, and I hope that you've got a lot out of the podcast today. Sure to update you in the time to come as to how I went with Dancing CEOs. Stay tuned. Until then, bye for now. Thank you for listening to the Being Unstoppable podcast, brought to you by my personal brand, Freebies, which you can find at caroleefontanelli.com. If you got value from this week's episode, I would love it if you would hit subscribe and take a minute to leave me a review. You can connect with me on Instagram or Facebook. Just search for Carolee Fontanelli. Until next time, remember, if you believe in yourself, you will be unstoppable.